Hi everyone. What I want to focus on today is bacteria for the most part. We are covering chapter 20 in our e-text, and we have already covered viruses, viroids, and prions, which are not living things, but they are able to cause disease. Now we're going to cover two microorganisms, bacteria and archaea, but we're going to focus more on the bacteria. We are covering a lot of this material through interactive animations and tutorials and things like that, but some of the material you need to be taught. So it's a traditional lecture type, situation. So I'll try to make this as painless as possible, but you need to know this information. So let's start off with reviewing what prokaryotes are, because that's section 20.2 is the section on prokaryotes. And this is a review because we learned what prokaryotes or prokaryotic cells are in Bio 111. We learned that there are two types of cells. There are prokaryotic cells that don't have a nucleus and eukaryotic cells that do have a nucleus. So the prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus, but they do have DNA inside the cell in a region called the nucleoid. There's just not a membrane that surrounds the DNA. And prokaryotes also don't have any of the membrane-bound organelles that we learned, like the mitochondria, lysosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus. Prokaryotes don't have any of that. So if it has a membrane, the only membrane in prokaryotes, for the most part anyway, is the plasma membrane. So prokaryotes still have a plasma membrane. So let's make a chart of what prokaryotes do have and what they don't have as compared to eukaryotes. So what they do have is, let's try red. What they do have is they do have DNA, and their DNA is found instead of being linear chromosomes like we have, 46 chromosomes that are kind of rod-shaped, and when they're duplicated they look like little X's, the letter X. Well, prokaryotes have a long circular chromosome. It's a very large circular chromosome, and it's so large that it looks like a big tangled mass of DNA inside of the cell. So the DNA is in the form of one long circular chromosome. And since it's found as a long circular chromosome, we can also say something else about prokaryotes, is that they are haploid, because diploid means you have a double copy of each chromosome, and prokaryotes don't. So we can automatically say that they are haploid. They only have a single long circular chromosome. So they are haploid organisms. They do contain DNA. What else do they have? They also have ribosomes, because prokaryotic organisms, prokaryotic cells still have to make protein, and ribosomes make proteins. They have a plasma membrane composed of phospholipids, a phospholipid bilayer, and they have a cell wall. Their cell wall is composed of peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan. If we were in class, I would have you to say it and repeat peptidoglycan. This is a component that is found in the cell walls only of bacteria. The archaea do not have peptidoglycan in their cell walls, but the cell walls of bacteria do. So I'll put that in parentheses. Only bacteria. Okay, so I'm just thinking if I left anything out. They do have DNA, they do have ribosomes, plasma membrane, they have cytoplasm. All cells have cytoplasm. So I'm going to pause and erase this. So now let's talk about the structure of prokaryotic cells. No matter if they are archaea or bacteria, they're always going to have a plasma membrane. So what I've drawn here, my drawing is not great, but there is also a slide in the PowerPoint presentation posted on Moodle that is an illustration of this, but I'm going to do my best to make a drawing of a prokaryotic cell and some of the parts that are found in it. So what I've drawn here is the plasma membrane. Outside the plasma membrane is the cell wall. We'll draw that one in red. I'm trying to make this one a little thicker. So brown inside is the plasma membrane. Red outside the plasma membrane is the cell wall. And then prokaryotes have a capsule outside the cell wall. Make that orange. Now, oh, you can't see that. I'm sorry. Hold on. All right, let's try this. Capsule. Okay, so outside the cell wall is a capsule, and the capsule is either a solid structure or it is a kind of a slime layer. Okay, so the capsule will help the prokaryotic cell to attach to surfaces and to attach to other cells. Well, let's talk about the DNA. So the DNA is in the form of a long circular chromosome in a region called the nucleoid. So I drew it as a big mass because it's going to be all tangled up, but it's actually a long circular, one single circular chromosome. So that's the DNA, and the DNA is located in the nucleoid region. Now, we're going to make a few dots, and the dots are going to represent ribosomes. Okay, so the ribosomes are responsible for protein synthesis, for making proteins. Now, sometimes there will be structures attached to the prokaryotic cell. Sometimes there are structures on the outside of the capsule. They're like little bristles, little fibers or bristles. They're for attachment. They help the prokaryotic cell to attach to other things. And we'll just draw a few of them. Oh. All right. All right. They are called fimbriae. Again, the fimbriae are little bristles, little kind of like spiky things, fiber type structures that help the prokaryotic cell to attach to surfaces. And sometimes there will be a structure called a conjugation pilus. We will talk about conjugation as a way that bacteria exchange DNA from one bacterium to another. So sometimes there'll be that structure. Let's draw it in a different color. Try blue. So we'll just call it a pilus, a conjugation pilus, and that's going to enable the bacterial cell to inject another bacterium or another prokaryotic cell with its some of its DNA. And then sometimes the bacterial cell will have a flagellum, which of course is for locomotion or swimming. So I think that covers it. All right, hold on. All right, so excuse me, reproduction in prokaryotic cells is typically asexual, and reproduction occurs by a process called binary fission. So their asexual reproduction, we call that binary fission, which literally means to split in half. And then it does have, bacteria are able, they don't really carry out sexual reproduction like where it's a recombination of genes from the parents, but they are able to have some genetic variety by carrying out 3 different processes. So I guess this would be under sexual reproduction or genetic variety. They can have genetic variety by undergoing conjugation, transformation, and transduction. Conjugation, transformation, and transduction. And another way that they get genetic variety is simply by mutating. They have a much higher mutation rate than what eukaryotic cells do. Okay, so conjugation is when one bacterial cell inserts its DNA into another bacterial cell. So this is from bacterium to another bacterium through a conjugation pilus. Transformation, remember, was a process discovered by Frederick Griffith where bacteria can take up DNA from their environment, maybe from bacterium around them that have died. So transformation is from the environment into a bacterium. And then transduction is when DNA is transmitted from a bacteriophage, which is a virus that infects bacteria. A bacteriophage transfers genetic information into a bacterial cell. So transduction is from a bacteriophage to a bacterium, and these are the ways that bacteria will exchange or have genetic variety. Let's see. One other thing is I wanted to show you. I have a little bit of room here. If this is a bacterial cell, you know you have that circular DNA in there, the long circular chromosome. But bacteria can also have extra rings of DNA called plasmids. So a small ring of DNA is called a plasmid. A small ring of DNA is called a plasmid.